guys, my name is Clayton Bell. I'm the lead pastor of Trinity New Life Church, and this is going to be a video series where we actually help you learn how to start reading the Bible. Now, I know as a pastor, we can encourage you to, we're always like, read the Bible, you got to read the Bible more. And then what I find is most people are like, but how do I do that? So this is actually going to be a video series where we practically walk you through what it looks like to read the Bible. This plus 9 more videos, two introduction, this is one of the introduction, 7 of them where we're actually going to read the Bible and discuss it together, and then 1 at the end where we try to help give you some practical next steps. So let's just answer a couple questions. Why do we actually want to read the Bible? The answer is not to avoid trouble. The answer is because we want to learn more about God. We want to learn about His personality. We want to learn about His character, His nature. We want to learn, what does He require of us? People have a lot of opinions about God, but God has a lot of opinions about God, and better to go to the source and see what He actually says. So that's why we want to read it, to grow closer to Him and to understand it. Then the question becomes, well, what am I actually reading? Is this one book of one person that was put all together? Is it a bunch of different books? Is it letter? Like what am I reading? And while there can be a much longer discussion of the types of literature that are found inside of the scriptures, the kind of the easiest way to do this is to break it down into 2 big sections. You might have heard them called the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is a collection of history and wisdom from God to the Jewish people. There's about a 400-year period of difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. The New Testament tells the story of Jesus' life, His ministry, His death and resurrection, and then how people lived and how they attempted to understand His life as a result of His time with us. Asking, what does He require of us? What does it mean to follow Him? How should we live as a result? So that's what you're reading. And then a lot of times, one of the main questions that I'll get is, what about different translations? See, this is, well, you can't see it. I know we're recording in 4K, but it says right there, NLT. That stands for New Living Translation. The Bible was originally written in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, not in English. So anytime you take translation from one language to another, there's always a bit of give and take in that. For instance, if you ever took Spanish, you would know that if I wanted to translate the red house into Spanish, it would not be the rojo de casa. It would be casa de rojo. So in English, house of red. But they mean the same thing. So just because it's not in the exact same word order, it can get the same meaning. So anytime that you're reading the Bible that's not in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, you're getting a translation where somebody is trying to hold the tension between what was originally written and how do I say that in a way that's as close to the original intention but makes sense for our listeners. The New Living Translation moves a little farther into the meaning for meaning, and I found it to be one of the most helpful translations for people who have not read the Bible before. If you're using a Bible app like YouVersion, you can tap at the top of it to be able to change the translation off of the default King James Version. Now again, there are a lot of amazing versions, but that's just what we're going to be reading from in this sermon series, and it's a YouTube sermon series, not sermon, and why we picked that particular translation. So this is a little bit of an introduction. It's why we want to read, what we're reading, and why is it in this translation. In our next video, we're actually going to walk through a sample Bible reading together, but make sure that you have subscribed to this channel so you get an update every time we post another one of these videos, and leave a comment below to let me know what additional questions you have about the Bible so that we can answer those.